Sound resumed.
Welcome, viewers, to the new season of the Star Mazda Australian Championship, brought to you live by Slipstream. Tonight we are at Interlagos, pretty classic Grand Prix circuit. With me, as usual, in the booth tonight is Andrew Gaines. Andrew, how are you this evening?
Yeah, really good, Trent. It's great to be back. Already round one. It seems like we just finished the season a week ago. We sort of did. But look, what a track to start the season on. This track is always generating great racing. So really looking forward to it. Massive field tonight.
Yeah, it is. We did have 50 cars. I'm not sure how many have joined now, but last I checked was 49. So we've got a full grid here tonight. Not sure with all the iRacing issues they've had whether all 50 are going to show up. So I'm not sure how the broadcast will go this evening, but hopefully, yeah, it'll all be roses. Just wanted to point out that our carryover champion Gary Hamilton is sporting the number one on his car tonight. So shout out to him. We haven't really seen previous champions run the number one on the car, so it's good to see he's taken up that option to run the number one.
Yeah, that's right. And we've seen through the pre-season pace and also from the week 13 race pace that he had, he's definitely the guy to watch again, trying to defend that championship that he won last season. But we've got a lot of guys that could win it this season, a lot of fast guys in here. And what's even more interesting is there's been some super teams pretty much put together, some privateers and solo drivers getting together with other fast drivers to create these super teams. So the teams championship is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, there's certainly some strong pairings. I know we spoke about Craig Edwards, for instance, last season. He ran as a privateer. And we always said that he'd probably get picked up, and he has been, and he's moved to the JFF GT Amiga team, teaming up with Joshua Burden, who was doing race control for us last season. So he's going to have a stab at having a drive this season with Craig Edwards as his teammate. So that's one of those strong teams that we touched on. That's definitely going to be one to watch.
Yeah, that's right, and it's great to see that a lot of the drivers are back to have another crack. We've had guys in this series probably for the last 4 seasons, and it's great to see some new guys coming on board as well. So some guys that have probably not really been split one runners are going to be in the split one tonight with one big race, one big field. So it's going to be pretty nerve-wracking for a couple of the drivers. Obviously, the new guys coming on board, they're not going to know what the other guys are like to drive against, and vice versa. The guys that have been in the series are not really going to know what the new guys are like to drive. So a little bit of uncertainty on the track tonight. That should be some good racing, but should sort of make it a little bit more interesting as well.
It certainly will, and we've had to deal with iRacing did an update on this car when the new season build came out last week. They've since updated it again. The initial update left the car quite loose and was really slippery, and was actually quite difficult to drive. A lot of the drivers found the new changes have now made it a lot more planted, probably a little bit more understeer, more than likely out of this car now. So we're running a set this week based off the medium downforce set. Basically just changed the fuel level to force that pit stop that they're required to do. Increase the front downforce and reduce the rear downforce a bit without upsetting the balance of the car too much. And we'll have a look at whether we need to tweak that for following weeks. We only really had today to work on it because the update came out last night. So from all reports, drivers are still saying it's probably still a little bit pushy. So that's something that maybe we can work on for future races.
Yeah, and just to add to that, it is a fixed set. So once the set is developed, it's put up on the forum. All the drivers can grab the set, but they can't change anything about the set. There's no tyre pressure changes, there's no downforce changes, there's no changes whatsoever. So all the setups, all the cars, they're all the same. So in this series, it's coming down to driver, bit of pit strategy, and a very much a lot of luck.
Yeah, that's true. And as you're touching on, like one of the things that most drivers like to change is the brake bias, and they can't even change that either. Um, a lot of them, it's probably a fairly heavy frontwards brake bias, but that just helps add the stability of the car as well. You get the occasional front locking into some of the really hard braking corners where it locks the inside front, but it's better than the rears locking and the car just loops around. So it is a fairly user-friendly setup. but it's still not 100% perfect.
This is a great track to start the season on. As I touched on before, there's so many passing opportunities on this track, and we've seen people race and just put it all on the line in this track. I mean, so many things can go wrong. There's so many tight corners, so many sort of sweepers. Things can go really horribly wrong, but it always generates really close battles throughout the whole field.
That's true. I'll just quickly go through the grid. We won't get through all of them because there's 50 cars. But Gary Hamilton's on pole, carryover champion. Josh Rogers, Craig Edwards, we were talking about earlier, in third, and Michael McCabe fourth, with Jake Burton in fifth. Sorry for all these drivers, but I'm just going to click through your names. So yeah, that's the 6th to 10th. Then the next 5, Anthony Winkelmann, he's a new driver this season. Another driver, Nathan Eremenko. And we're seeing drivers that we normally see at the front of the field, so these new drivers are quick. So it's certainly pushing some of these drivers down towards the rear end of the grid. And as we can see, yeah, we got 50 drivers all up on the grid.
It's a great sight to see when the cars are about to pull off the line with 50 cars on the starting line.
Yeah, it looks like we do have most of the cars showing up, so it's good to see, and they're off and racing. Well, it looks like someone's diving into the pit straight away, so that's bringing up their pit strategy.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting strategy. Oh, we've got a car rolling over on the first corner.
Yeah, this track's notorious for that sort of stuff. Hopefully we can have a bit of a look at that later in the broadcast. We just watched this first lap.
Yeah, it looks like Rob Gray was caught up in that. He's having a lot of trouble getting that car going. And Brock Kramer was the driver that seemed to duck into the pits, I think. So he's got his compulsory pit stop out of the way really quickly.
Yeah, if he's down the field, that's probably a pretty good, clever thing to do. Get out of the traffic, straight into clear air, and he'll make up a heap of positions once all the pit stops have sorted out. And the ruling is that the pit lane is open as soon as the green goes. So as soon as it drops green, you can go into the pit stop. Even so, if you're lucky enough to have your pit stall or your grid stall, sorry, before the pit lane, it means you can drive straight in. So up the front we got Gary Hamilton and Craig Edwards, two names we're used to seeing at the front battling. Can this be the week that Craig Edwards gets that elusive win that he's been chasing for quite a while now?
Yeah, we've spoken about that so many times last season where he was looked super fast. It was just the consistency that was letting him down. But he got a couple of podiums, he got a couple of second places, but he just hasn't been able to get that breakthrough win just yet.
And it certainly hasn't been through lack of trying. He's been there or thereabouts, but unfortunately made just some minor mistakes that have cost him in the past.
And we know Craig has teamed up with Joshua Burden this season, and that's a really strong pairing. Joshua, obviously, if you cast your mind back to season 1, he actually came runner-up in the Drivers' Championship. He came second, so he's no slouch in the Star Mazda. I think that's definitely going to be one of the stronger teams to watch this season.
Definitely right. And speaking of Joshua, he has made his pit stop. He might be down in 40th place, but he's actually the second car to have made a stop. So he's got himself out of that traffic, pitted early, and that should pay him dividends towards the end of this race.
Just been watching Craig Edwards go around, but I didn't realise I was watching Craig because I'm used to seeing him in a different colour car.
Yeah, we're used to seeing that purple Voodoo racing car, I think was the skin that he used to run, so it's unusual seeing him in that red JFF GT Amiga car this season. So another person who's made a bit of a comeback too is Dylan Shepherd, currently in 9th place. He was our Season 1 champion. It's good to see him. He's made sort of a bit of a comeback this season, and he's actually in a pretty good position as well. So yeah, hopefully he can have a good race and a good series. He's tried in previous races, but seems to have had unfortunate incidences that have led to DNFs.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping he'd be back for the season because it's nice to see past champions come back. Obviously, with the first season, it was pretty new, so we didn't have a full caliber of great drivers in the series. We had good drivers, don't get me wrong there, but we've got more great drivers in the series now, 5 seasons on or 4 seasons on. So it'll be really good to see how he goes against those guys. And obviously having another previous champion in the championship is always good for the series.
Exactly right. We see him trying to make a move there on Troy Burgess. Can't see the name. Oh, that was quite close. Troy got a bit loose, losing it there, coming into that corner, and luckily they didn't make contact. They both left each other room, but yeah, they're certainly trying very hard.
Justin Strickland from Team X-Ray is currently in 5th. Obviously, Justin is part of the team that won the team championship, Team X-Ray, last season. Those guys were super consistent, always up in the top 10, both those drivers. So they'll be looking to go back-to-back this season. Nobody's done that before, not in the Drivers' Championship and not in the Team Championship. So there's a lot on the line this season. A lot of people trying to get those double championships and a lot of people trying to win their first championship. So it should be a great battle throughout the season.
Yeah, that's very true. And obviously he's in a very strong position up there in the top 5 again. So they're starting the season quite well.
Yeah, Mark Rayner, his teammate, in position 9. So what a great start for Team X-Ray, both of them in the top 10 at this stage of the race.
And I think they're the only team at the moment that has actually both their cars actually alive. Gary Hamilton actually has a teammate this season in Adam Newton. He's racing for Element Motorsports, which is the name of that team. And so Gary's obviously in first place and Adam's in 7th. So we've got 2 teams there, both cars in the top 10, so it's looking good for those guys.
Yeah, that's going to be another super team, isn't it? I mean, we've probably got about 5 super teams in here. And I think the good thing about the teams championship is you've got to have both cars really strong. You've got to have both cars finishing races. You've got to have both cars as high as you can get them. We saw last season there was a couple of teams running at the front for a fair while, and they're not drivers that were always in the top split, but they were just super consistent.
Yeah, that's right. And we've seen actually in the past previous champions, I think season 2 might have been the only season we've had where the drivers champion and the team champion were from the same team. Where we've seen previously is there's been one strong standout driver within a team, and unfortunately they haven't had 2 really strong drivers. But as we touched on earlier, that this season we have a lot of 2 driver pairings that are really strong and quite capable of being up there at the front of these races.
I was saying earlier on in the week on the forum that to be in the top 15 now is a massive achievement. I mean, first season was if you're in the top 5, you're a really fast driver. The last 2 seasons, it was if you're in the top 10, you're a really fast driver. Now, if you're in the top 15, you're a really fast driver.
Yes, exactly. It just seems to get stronger and stronger as we attract new drivers each and every week. Obviously, the OSR team have started the Formula 1 Championship, which is running the same night as Star Mazda. Unfortunately, conflicting series can happen sometimes. There isn't really many nights you can really run a series, but it's good to see that both series tonight actually have pretty solid numbers, so it does prove that they can coexist, which is good. But some of our usually drivers, especially the ERA guys, they've all moved over to the Formula 1 car now. I don't think there's a single ERA car in the field tonight, which we've always seen them have quite a strong showing in these races. So it's good that both series can run, and we're attracting new drivers all the time, which is always a good thing for any series.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, some funnel out and want to go onto different cars or maybe harder cars to drive or different series, and then we get some more coming into our series. We've picked up a fair few new drivers this season, and that already you can see some of them are really quite strong, but also not new talent coming in that's straight to the top. I mean, this series is great for nurturing talent all the way through. I mean, we've seen some of the guys 2 seasons ago were always split 2 runners. Now they're constantly in split one runners. So not only are we seeing the new fast guys come into the series, but we're also seeing the guys that were midfielders start to make their way up to the front, which is always good to see.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It is probably a bit of a feeder series. We've actually got a new driver. I'm not sure I haven't seen his name in here tonight. Richard Craig. He's been running the Skip Barber for the last however many seasons, and so he's decided he's going to give the Star Mazda a go tonight, and he's looking forward to this season in SMAC, and he's going to be running the officials as well. So good to see drivers stepping up from other series, and obviously there'll be others that, as you said, will move on from here and into the Formula One, for instance, as the next step up.
Yeah, it's horses for courses, isn't it, Chen? It's Star Mazda is probably an easier car to drive than the Formula One. It's a fixed setup. Probably doesn't need as much practice as other cars, so it's really easily to jump in and drive and have a go. And you don't have to put all that time and effort into making up sets and hours of practice. I mean, you can come in here like we saw in, I think it was practice or quali. There was a second between the first 21 cars, so it just sort of shows you how close the racing and the drivers are. They don't practice all the time, so you can just jump in there and be fairly competitive.
Yeah, we've found a lot of the guys doing that. Obviously, with the changes in the car, we've actually had quite a lot of drivers in the practice service trying to get used to the new settings and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, we totally lost my train of thought. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm lost.
You've lost.
I'm lost.
Too much going on.
I've just noticed Trading Paints uploaded Craig Edwards' car to his old one for some reason. I don't know why that's happened, but sorry about that to Craig and the JFF guys. Your livery's not showing up properly.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So Gary Hamilton's still out in front. It's not really getting away from second and third place. I think and actually he's coming up to some back markers. So this is going to be crucial that he gets through these back markers pretty quick. But as we know, you can use those back markers to get a bit of draft as well, maybe get a little bit of an advantage. But I don't think he's that far ahead to really get an advantage.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, the draft is really pretty heavy at this track. It can make quite a lot of time. Probably save a little bit of fuel. We're expecting the guys can't run any more than 15 laps before they'll have to pit for fuel. And I know there was talk earlier on in the practice sessions that some drivers may opt to take front tyres only in their pit stop because it does work those tyres pretty hard, and I have been told that certain drivers were doing race runs in practice, and they did find at the times were dropping off over the course of a full race distance.
Just saw Jason Bentz in position 42 for Laser Racing, that he just let the front runners go past. I'm not sure what happened to Jason Bentz. I mean, he's usually a fast driver. I've seen him before. He's very quick in the V8 supercar, and he's done a couple of races in this series. So I'm really not too sure what happened to him, but he seems to be dead last.
Yeah, Adam Funslow is another driver that we saw in week 13 trying out this series. He's done a few races in the past, but he's trying to have a go and be out there up front. He's just making his pit stop now, so he's obviously dropping down the order, but it's good to see him in here tonight as well.
Yeah, really good to see some of the regulars like Andrew Kiss, Joseph Falcomotta, Philip Stoneman. There's so many of them, isn't there, that have come back. David Jellings from G&T Racing. It's really good to see those guys come back, and they only improve every time they come back, so they know that there's going to be some fast guys coming in, but they also know they're getting closer to the front as well, so it's going to be pretty exciting for those guys.
Yeah, David Jellings, he's 23rd at the moment, but he's actually the fourth car to have made a pit stop so far, so he's in a fairly strong position, I'd say, once we come towards the end of the race. All the cars in front haven't made stops yet, so we could see him maybe even jump into a top 15 or a top 10 position by the end of the race.
Adam Newton's doing well. He's in position 7. He's quite a fast driver. I don't think I've seen much of Adam. I think it's his first series or his first season in the Star Mazda in the SMAC series. But already putting on the pace and doing a really good job.
Yeah, it's Gary's teammate, and yeah, it's good to see him up there. I think he might have run a couple of races here and there, but he's never done any full-time running in this series. They obviously another one of those top quality fast drivers that are coming in and certainly making their mark.
Troy Burgess currently in position 27. Not sure if he's made a pit stop or not. But look, he was one of those guys that just was improving race after racing. Got some really solid results at the back end of last season. Really expecting to go well this season, but it looks like he's got a little bit of front wing damage on the front left-hand side. I'm not sure if that's going to be affecting his car at all, but he seems to be going okay.
Yeah, it probably will. There's not a lot of front downforce on these cars. They do tend to push a bit, as I stated earlier, under throttle, so that could be affecting his ability to take corners as quickly as you probably like. Just looking back at the front here, Gary Hamilton's now made a bit of a break now. He's sort of starting to break that draft with Craig Edwards and Joshua Rogers battling between each other, and it's allowed Gary to sort of make a bit of a break. Might be an idea for one of these guys to maybe make a pit stop very soon.
Richard Craig is in position 38 at the moment, Trent. I'm not sure if he's pitted or something's happened to him, but it's not a position that we're used to seeing him in.
Well, my pit time has got some huge number with about 15 digits in it, so I don't think that's an accurate pit time, so I'm not sure what's happened there. I've got a few drivers who've shown up with that number in their pit times, so they may have been involved in that early accident at the beginning of the race, which we might try and go back to if we can. You see, there's already an accident on the start line. Don't know how I'm going to get back there to have a look at that.
KRF team have put in a big effort this season with 6 teams, so that's 12 drivers taken off where ERA did. I guess ERA had probably about 10 drivers in the series last season. They weren't full time though. There was a couple of drivers dropping in and out, but the KRF boys have been in the series for quite a long time, but they really put a strong showing in for this season.
Yeah, it was good to see them guys put in a good showing, and hopefully they'll get some good results too. Just going back, looks like the two laser racing guys, Michael Hammond and Jason Bentz, were collected in some sort of an accident at the very start of the race. I'll go back to live pictures now.
Yeah, Craig Edwards still in third. He does show up with the new livery on my screen, so we're probably seeing him in different light. But he's currently in third. We know he's a strong finisher when he does finish, and I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is when he's up the front and near the end of the race, he really does put on the pace and finishes really quite well. He's just been maybe overdrive the car, maybe been a little bit unlucky in some races. Well, I hope he's worked on that on the off season. I think he'll come back really strong. He's one of the guys that is a contender for the championship.
Oh, he is. It's not like he's making real silly mistakes. It's just this tiniest little bit offline, that sort of stuff. It seems to be costing him those positions. So yeah, that's all it is. It's nothing really major, but it's enough to cost him a few positions and those wins that he's been chasing.
Yeah, we've seen it time and time again. He's just topping the timesheets in practice, and he puts a lot of practice in. I mean, if anybody practices hard, it's Craig, and that shows how serious he is about this series. And it'd be really good to see him get his first win. I think I'd go to my bar and spray some champagne all over my computer screen. To be honest, I'd be pretty excited for him.
Oh yeah, I think it'd be a massive thing for him to get that win. That's for sure. We've just seen our first of the leaders, real leaders, have made their pit stop. Josh Rogers, who was running in third position, he's come out just behind Jake Burton actually, and Jake's actually already made his pit stop. So this is actually a fight for position in eighth and ninth, and we've got Dylan Shepherd about 3 seconds behind these guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out in the end because yeah, Jake Burton, we didn't really see much of him, so he must have pitted quite early, and that early pit stop's obviously paid dividends for him, and he's certainly made time.
Yeah, it's a name that comes up in a lot of series, isn't it, Jake Burton? He does drive a lot of different cars, or we've seen him in the past drive different series, and he's always been fast, whatever he's sitting in. So it's a great addition to have in the series, and I think he'll do well this season.
Yeah, it is a Daco team. It's quite a successful team as well. Recently, in the AEC Championship, run by JFF, I'm pretty sure their HPD car took out the title. Sorry, they had a couple of entries, and one of their cars did win the overall HPD Class A Championship. So, well done to the Daco guys, and we certainly know that they're a strong team in the V8 supercar as well.
Just having a look back through the field, I see Mitchell McLeod in position 22. Mitchell's another guy that he's a really fast driver. He just doesn't seem to get the results that he deserves, whether that be from unfortunate incidents or mistakes he's made. But he's a real fast driver, and it's good to see him come back this season and have another go. But position 20 is not where I'd expect to see him. Although he may have pitted, I don't have the information about the pits at the moment. But look, still a long way to go in the race, so he can definitely make up some positions.
Well, had my mic muted. To the viewers out there, I will be working on getting a pit stop overlay working so that uh, we can display on screen who's pitted and who hasn't, and just to give you guys out there a little bit more information about where people really are in relation to cars on track, that sort of thing. Mitchell McLeod is one of those cars who has pitted. We've still only got a couple of cars at the top that have not yet to pit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars, and we've got Gary Hamilton who's just come into the pits. And Craig Edwards' skin is showing up correctly again.
He's got one of those changeable liveries, I guess.
Yeah, maybe his colour changes in the sunlight. So it'll be interesting to see where these guys come out in relation to Josh Rogers and Jake Burton. Looks like they're going to come out ahead of them, so we're going to have a four-way battle for the lead by the looks of it. Certainly wasting no time. No, there goes Craig's livery again. I don't know why it keeps changing.
We touched on it before the race, just talking about Gary Hamilton and how fast he is, but and how consistent he is. He just puts in qualifying lap after qualifying lap, and whoa, we saw a little bit of a slide from him there, but we generally don't see any mistakes from Gary, which is why he's so good, and which why he's the champion, I guess. But he's very hard to catch when he's out in front because he doesn't make mistakes.
That's exactly right. I think that's what's made him the champion in the previous season is the fact that not only is he fast, but he's incredibly consistent lap after lap, and generally he tends to get quicker as the races go on. So it's certainly a really strong driver.
I think realistically, from a drivers' championship perspective, there's probably 10 guys that I would be looking at in this field that could possibly win the championship, which is really exciting. What's even more exciting for me this season is the team championships. Like I said before, there's been what I would call super teams formed in the last week, and it just goes to show that they're taking the team championship just as seriously as the drivers' championship. So we saw some great battles last season for the team championship. Saw a great battle for the drivers' championship. So this season, I think it's just going to be even better.
Yeah, not wrong. And a surprise here is Justin Strickland's just come out the pits. He was actually in front of Craig Edwards coming out of the pits. So him and Craig are actually fighting for second place at the moment, which is costing a bit of time, allowing Gary to make a bit of a break. But looks like Craig's got that job done, and Justin's now stuck fighting with Jake Burton and Josh Rogers. As we just saw Josh Rogers get a little bit
Bit wide
loose.
on that exit,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the word.
on entry. That was good control. I mean, normally you'd see that car start to spin, but he kept that car straight, which was great car control.
Yeah, I have to admit, I was expecting him to not be able to regain control of that, and he did a really good job to pull it back in, that's for sure.
I think he's a very strong V8 supercar driver, so I think if you can control those things and slide them around a bit, you should do pretty okay in these cars because they've got a lot more grip and a lot more downforce.
He's been pretty quick in most cars he tends to drive. It looks like it was a case of follow the leader, and Jake Burton and Josh Rogers both ran a bit wide, probably got a bit of aero push from Justin Strickland in front of them, but yeah, managed to hold on to it and live another day. Certainly broken up that top pack a little bit now, though, with the way that they were running there so close and with those few accidents.
Yeah, you got Jake Burton hanging on the back end of Justin Strickland there. I think it won't be long before we see a move there for third place, and that might allow Joshua to come through as well. I think we'll see a good battle for third, fourth, and fifth.
And it looks like we do actually have an ERA car in the field tonight. I'm not sure if he's actually officially with the ERA team, but Lance Firkins back here in 22nd place. He's certainly running an ERA Demidov Innovations livery. So, yeah, no, I think Lance is actually a guy he's tried to run this series in the past, but personal circumstances have left him unable to attend the races, and now it looks like he's able to have a drive, and so it's good to see him having a go.
Oh, the battle for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth is heating up. Those guys going really close through turn one, turn two. Sort of had to hold my breath there. That was like going two, nearly three wide.
Looks like a big battle pack of 5 cars or 4 cars there. Looks like some of them were some back markers, so managed to negotiate the traffic fairly well. Looks like Jake Burton got held up a little bit by that, but hasn't cost him a position.
That's pretty tough being in Justin Strickland's position because he knows the 2 cars behind him have got the draft, so they could come flying through at any stage of any lap basically. So he knows he's got to drive pretty defensively, but going up the straight, it's you can only make that one move over, and with those cars in the draft, they should be able to sail by quite quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing. You might be a quick driver in the twisty stuff, but yeah, that straight's certainly a big equaliser. By no means a guaranteed pass can be made, but yeah, it certainly allows a driver to keep in touch if they can just stay within that half a second to a second. The car in front, the draft down the straight will tend to help you really stay in touch with the car ahead. Just touching on teams again, we mentioned Gary Hamilton and Adam Newton. Both cars, they're in the same team, and both cars are in the top 10. We had Justin Strickland and Mark Rayner also running 2 cars in the top 10. Craig Edwards and his teammate Joshua Burden is also running in the top 10, although he's lost a position now, it looks like, to Hayden Dodman. But yeah, both three teams with both drivers in the top 10, so it's certainly going to be a very tight battle in the team's title.
This battle for third, fourth, and fifth is just fantastic. These guys giving each other just enough room, swapping positions, corner to corner. Yeah, it's great battle. I mean, this is what we saw all last season with the front runners. These guys can race and maybe bang wheels just that little bit, but oh, we've seen someone go off there. That's not going to help matters.
Yeah, there's Jake Burton. As we saw Justin Strickland and Josh Rogers there side by side. That was really close, but like you said, they're just giving each other just enough room to get the job done. But looks like Justin Strickland's fallen back a bit off these two, and because of this battle, the two leaders, Gary Hamilton and Craig Edwards, are now 4 seconds up the road.
And how many times did we see that last season with Gary Hamilton and Craig Edwards up front? It would be good to see Craig, I guess, push Gary to the end. That would be great to see, but more importantly, those guys need to finish and get maximum points.
It'll be interesting to see whether Craig's just going to sit in behind Gary and just bide his time, maybe make a move towards the end of the race, or whether he will try and battle him hard, or how he's going to play that. Looks like Justin Strickland's just run a bit wide there and made a bit of a mistake. Let Michael McCabe through into 5th position now. So this battle pack we were watching earlier is broken up a little bit, but there's still anyone's game.
Yeah, just going back to what Craig might be thinking. I mean, he's still very close to getting his first win. It's like, I'm in this position, do I go for it? Or I just, relax, stay behind Gary and bag those points? Yeah, hard call.
I think, yeah, like we always touch on this, drivers are drivers and they're going to go for that win regardless. Especially for him, he hasn't got that elusive victory yet. He seems to be able to match Gary Hamilton's times pretty easily at the moment, so I'm sure that he's going to go for that win. He's probably just find out where he's stronger, where he's weaker, and try and time his move to get that job done.
And they're coming up to an all-important part of the race. Is they come up at back marker. If Gary gets around this back marker at a really good spot and Craig doesn't, it really could damper. Well, actually, they've both gone past really well. The back marker behaved very well then, and just let those guys through, and they'll continue to battle. But it looks like Craig may have lost a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think because Craig had to take the slightly tighter line on entry into the corner, he wasn't the optimal line. He couldn't quite maintain that speed, but I've been watching this gap between these guys, and it's been basically 0.3 of a second to 0.4 of a second. It really hasn't changed a lot from that. Having said that, it's now gone out to 0.8 of a second, so I'm not sure what happened there. I think Craig might have run a little bit wide. Back at turn 4 there as well, it's quite a notorious place to get an off track. In iRacing terms, that means you put a wheel on the dirt pretty much, and it scores you as an incident point. And these guys only get 20 incident points per race, otherwise they'll get disqualified. So there's 24 laps of this race, so if they run wide there every lap, in theory they could potentially get disqualified before the end of the race. So that's something that they'll need to watch as this race goes on.
Justin Strickland down to position 6, which is quite interesting. That battle pack seems to have broken up a little bit.
Certainly be interesting to find out if any of these guys did take front tyres. I know a driver did speak to me before the race and say that they were going to take front tyres. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not. I need to stop saying interesting to see. I'm going to say it again, interesting to see how that strategy played out for them, whether it did get any yield, because we don't normally see tyre wear in these cars, so that's definitely going to be something to look forward to hearing.
Really surprised to see some of the names down the field a little bit. Oh, actually, it's not really down the field when you come to think of it these days. Troy Burgess in position 13, it's still a very respectable position in regards to how competitive this field is. David Jellings, he's constantly fast. He's one of the top runners. He's always top of the timesheets in practices and does fairly well in the races as well. He's in position 14. It's like what I said before. 15 is the new top 5 for this series.
Yeah, it really is. We saw Troy Burgess running top 5 towards the end of last season, so yeah, to see him down in 13th, it's probably quite unexpected, not only for us but for him too. So yeah, it's unfortunate to see him that far down, but the quality of the drivers ahead of him are just quite strong. So it's certainly not that he's lost pace. It's just there's a lot of faster drivers now join the series.
Yeah, that's right. I've just glanced my eyes up above and see who's above him in the field, and they're all quality drivers. So it's as you said, it's not dropping pace. It's just a stronger field this year or this season, and a couple of the drivers from last season have just brought it up that notch as well. Andrew Kiss in position 27. He's also got some front left wing damage, which is probably affecting his speed as well. Actually, he's got some rear wing damage as well, so he's probably had a spin and a touch with the wall, I would say, but he seems to be circulating okay. But fair bit of damage, visual damage to that car anyway.
Yeah, I think I saw that car earlier, and I wasn't sure who that was. So yeah, it's certainly this car's looking pretty second hand. I can't imagine that'd be too much fun to be driving, that's for sure. We're just watching a battle pack there. I think it's looks like 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st. Certainly swapping positions and chopping and changing. So it's everywhere you look, there's almost a battle throughout the whole field.
Brock Kremer's in the pits there. Trent, his car looking awfully bent. I would say he's already used his fast repair because he's been sitting in there for quite some time now.
Yeah, I don't think I can get a replay for that, unfortunately. We've just started our last lap. Gary Hamilton is leading Craig Edwards for half a second. Craig's been bringing that gap down a little bit, but I think he's too far back to be able to make a move, to be honest, before the end of this race. Unless he decides to just send it in one of the tight braking zones, but there really isn't many places he can do that.
No, I think I'd be sitting there and just willing to take second place. It's only the first round of the season, so it would be a shame to put all those points on the line just to try and get that win when it's such a long season to go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm quite flowing and rely on a bit of aero. When you're in the dirty area of the car ahead, you're going to get that aero push, and it's just not really going to allow you to get that run. So I do it anyway. And to be honest, I think he is just too far back, and a lot of these corners, unless he was right on the gearbox, he's run wide there, unfortunately. So it looks like Gary will take this victory here tonight.
You basically want to sit behind Gary and wait for him to make a mistake, but you're going to be waiting a long time for that to happen.
Yeah, as we've seen, yeah, Gary just doesn't make mistakes. So we see Gary Hamilton come across the line in first place, and Craig Edwards, good showing for his new team. Got Josh Rogers come home and take that final position on the podium. Back down through the field, all the drivers coming home. And Josh Burton disappeared off my timing there. I'm not sure where he came.
Position 11, Josh Burton came.
And my overlays are showing 31st, so I'm not sure if he had an outstanding iRacing penalty issued, because that will add time to your race time automatically. So yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. seeing the last of the cars coming to the finish line.
Just looking at the top 10 there, they're definitely drivers that I would have expected to be in the top 10. But there could have been 20 drivers in the top 10 if you know what I mean. But it's no surprises to see the top 10 as they are.
It's good to see Richard Craig come through. Looks like 26 he's going to come home in, so he managed to fight his way back up through the field.
Looks like we did have a couple of retirements. It'd be good to go back and have a look at, see what happened with those incidents. But there was a fair few people many laps down, so there was a fair few incidents throughout the field that we didn't actually get to see.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Might just go through our results now. As we saw Gary Hamilton take that victory over Craig Edwards. Josh Rogers managed to hold on for that final podium. It was a pretty tight battle there for a while between Josh, Jake Burton in fourth, and looks like Michael McCabe introduced himself for that battle as well, coming home in fifth. Justin Strickland's unfortunately dropped all the way back to sixth place. We saw him fighting pretty much for second place after his pit stop. Dylan Shepherd, good to see him up there get a result in 7th place. Adam Newton, Gary Hamilton's teammate, in 8th. Mark Rayner, the teammate of Justin Strickland, in 9th. And Hayden Dodman rounding out the top 10. 11th, we have Joshua Burden, so it's showing up there correctly. John Barry taking 12th. David Jellings coming home in 13th. So we saw him early in the race down in the low 20s before pit stop. So it looks like he's managed to get himself up there in the top 15, which is good to see. Martin Slavasi in 14th place, Mitchell McLeod in 15th. We've got Troy Burgess in 16th, Daniel Ackland taking 17th position, Christian Hinton in 18th, Damien Carr 19th, and Lance Hawes in 20th place. Got Lance Perkins in 21st, Nathan Growden 22nd, Phil Gadd 23rd, Luke Emerton in 24th, Ashley Lear 25th, Mark Espley, Scott Goodman, Richard Craig we saw earlier, Mark Simon and Andrew Kiss running out 30th place. Michael Hammond, we saw him involved in that start line incident with his teammate. Not sure 100% what happened there. In 31st, Jonathan Bean in 32nd. Stephen Williams, G&T Racing. He's normally in the V8 supercar, so he's having a go in the Star Mazda tonight. So shout out to him. Nathan Eramenko in 34th, Rob Gray 35th, Ben Wilkinson, Rob MacGyver, James Bell, Brock Creamer, you said you saw in the pit lane, and Joseph Falcamata in 40th place. Amanda Boucher in 41st, Adam Funslow not having a good night of it tonight, Jason Bentz, Phil Stoneman, Aaron Osborne, these are probably all DNFs now, Nino Natal, Brandon Sue, Jay Waugh, Anthony Winkleman, and Troy Maguire is in last and 50th position. Just a shout out to Joseph Falcamata too. He's made another donation this week to SMAC, so a big shout out to him. He's made a few donations to help the series keep going, so yeah, big thanks to Joseph for that help. Interesting race there. Quite some tight battles throughout the field, Andrew. Yeah, it was a pretty good race, really, for a season opener.
Yeah, it was, and you know this track is great for a season opener. I think we had it at the tail end of a few seasons, and it's always put on some great racing. So I think this kind of racing is obviously going to continue throughout the series, and we've, I guess, there's been a couple of drivers that have sort of stamped their mark, saying, look at me for the rest of the season, and there's probably about 15 of those. But look, the Drivers' Championship is up for grabs, and the Team Championship is up for grabs. We haven't had a dual winner. We've said that before, so it'll be really interesting to see if Gary can do back-to-back championships. But the Team Championship is the one that's really, really fascinating at the moment because there's so many strong teams. I mean, really strong teams, and some teams that are just under what I would call really strong teams that are capable of putting in consistent results and potentially winning the Team Championship as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And speaking of Gary Hamilton, he's down in the interview room. Looks like there's quite a few people down there, so we'll bring him up first for an interview, and I'll let you take it straight away, Andrew.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, hi Gary, congratulations on the win.
Hey, g'day Andy. G'day Trent. Thanks. That was a good one.
Yeah, mate. Look, you put it out there. You didn't leave anything on the line. Way to go, basically. Did you feel any pressure? I mean, Craig, obviously, he's a very strong driver. He's very fast. He was in second place just about for the last probably 5 or 6 laps there, chasing you down. But you kept that little gap there. How'd you feel about him putting pressure on you?
Yeah, there was plenty of that. I don't know what it looked like from the outside, but I was absolutely as hard as I could possibly drive. Maybe a bit too much sometimes. I made a fair few mistakes. Probably see the gap coming out and coming back in, coming out. But Craig and Josh and probably you others really, but they were plenty quick enough in the toe to catch me. And I'm very surprised they didn't, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it's a different field this season, isn't it? We've got a lot of different drivers, and we've got a couple of return drivers. We've got a return champion, Dylan Shepherd, Joshua Burden. He's another fast driver who came second in Series 1. Have you sussed out any of the drivers, or did you just come in here and do your thing?
Oh, you definitely pay attention, in the practice sessions that were up, and yeah, you see the names, familiar names from before, and yeah, they haven't lost anything. Definitely still good. So that's good though. I think the pace at the front is still the same. It's just incredibly close. I think in that race, I got lucky a bit. It looked like those guys were actually battling a little and slowing themselves up. So I think you look at the times, it's like top 20 or something within a second.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's even more competitive, or feels more competitive than last season, if that's even possible. Mates, I see you've teamed up with someone this season. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so where the Element Motorsports came from was actually another GT3 series, the SEK, Queensland GT3 series, and we started a little team there. And those guys are mostly just focused on that, and I said, you should give this a crack. It's really good fun, and the racing's very clean, which is one of the most important things. It's hard to get that, and yeah, Adam was like, oh yeah, I'll give it a go, and he came in and did one practice session. He was like 2 tenths off, not even. I was like, that's cool. Yep, let's have a team.
Yeah, look, we were watching him, and yeah, look, he got a really good result for his first time out there as well. And we're already talking about there's some super teams in the competition this series or this season. There's probably about 5 teams that are made up of 2 super fast drivers. So I know it's probably going to mean a lot to you to get back-to-back championships if you can. But what does it mean to get the team championship as well?
Yeah, that'd be cool. And that's one thing that I wasn't a part of in the last couple. Didn't have a teammate there, so I couldn't sort of follow that or go for that at all. And yeah, I mean, that'd be gold. Obviously, the aim is to win both, so we'll definitely give it a crack.
How'd you find the car tonight? Obviously, there's been some changes and there's been some updates, and well, no one has really got a chance to get used to it or to put much practice in. How did you find it?
Yeah, it's good. It's very with the extra updates they did this morning. I found it became a bit more stable, a bit easier. You could sort of stomp the throttle a bit harder. Probably didn't suit me the best, to be honest, as compared to the other car, but it's still really good, and it's the same for everyone, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, in that race, I nearly threw that away, actually. I don't know if you saw that, but I was lucky enough to pull. I had about 2 seconds before the pit, and from a practice, I threw fuel in without tyres, which is pretty standard, and I just felt like I had a lot of understeer. So in the race, I didn't think anyone was going to take tyres, but I thought 2 seconds is enough gap to go for it, and I did. I put fronts on, and yeah, that was almost the end of that, because it put Craig and Josh right back into my toe.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. We were talking about that on the broadcast, whether anyone was going to take front tyres or not. We thought that was an interesting strategy, because people have been saying that they sort of found that the tyres sort of dropped off a little bit, or they dropped a little bit of speed after a couple of laps. So that was really interesting to see. But look, we didn't see you make any mistakes. You're saying that you made a couple of mistakes. We're always talking about how super consistent, and if anybody's behind you, they have to wait for you to make a mistake, which really doesn't happen very often. But mate, great drive. Really good to see you back this season. Really looking forward to hopefully seeing you go back to back. Actually, we've never had it. We always go on about it, but it'd be pretty exciting if somebody could win 2 championships, mate. So look, all the best for the rest of the season. Is there somebody you want to have a shout out to? Maybe your sponsor in your team?
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Yeah, hey, big shout out, Adam. Awesome performance first race. Quality, no problem with quality. Got it in there and inside the top 10. So good one, Adam. And to Elements, and we've got a team. That's great. Big shout out there. And yeah, one more time for Will's book, Sheer Force of Willpower. Hopefully, maybe it's that distracting eyes on the back of the wing, eh? It's annoying everyone behind me. So it's working good.
It looks pretty mean, doesn't it? Look, yeah, grab it before Christmas. Only a couple more days to get it.
That's it. Yep. Cheers, fellas.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
User was moved out of
All
your
right.
channel.
So next we will bring up Josh Rogers, but I've had a request that Burton and Rogers want to be interviewed together, so I'll bring them up for you, Andrew, and you can interview them guys.
All right.
User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel.
Hi guys, welcome to the Slipstream commentary box. Somebody told me that you guys want to be interviewed together. I don't know if you guys have got something to say, but look, one at a time, how did your race go?
Let Rogers go first, who came third.
Alrighty, mate. Well, it was pretty interesting off the start, obviously. I don't know if you saw, but I dropped it down big time, so I went back a few spots there. In the pits, took a bit too much fuel, which definitely hurt me. I think I dropped back in 2 or 3, but then me and Jake worked together to try and move ourselves forward as far as we could. But no, we were hoping that Craig and Gary would battle to let us get up there, but that didn't happen. But definitely happy with 3rd and 4th, I'm sure.
Yeah, look, that's a fantastic start to the season, isn't it? Getting up there in we've been saying it for the whole broadcast. I mean, to get in the top 15 is definitely an achievement, but to get in the top 5, look, it's a great track to start off the season. It's always putting on some close racing. How did you find it out there with battling, people giving you enough space? And what was your strategy? Did you have a pit strategy? We saw one driver, I think it was Brock Kremen, dove straight into the pits before even doing a lap. I'm not too sure if that worked out for him too good, but how did you guys find the strategy? Did you have one to begin with?
Jake, you can go this one.
Yeah, man, it was sort of for me. I was running around P5. I got a bit of an average start, and then had a bit of difficulty getting through the slower guys. And I said to Josh on TeamSpeak, I said, you know, as soon as I catch this pack in front of me, I'm going to dive into the lane, because I knew those guys would probably hold me up because they're all in a big battle pack. So that was pretty much just my strategy. It minimised time, and I used the old spacebar technique to get 6.3 litres in the car, and it worked pretty much perfectly for me. I know Josh took a little bit too much, but normally what I do in the Star Mazda races, especially in the SMAC, is pit as late as you can, because obviously the tyres don't wear much, so then you got more time with lighter fuel, which is what I would have done ideally if I was, say, in Gary's situation, which explains why he pitted so late. But yeah, for us it was just all about track position and trying to ensure we did the most with the positioning we had.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it, with the track position? I mean, I think a few seasons ago, I think it was Trent that started the, hey, let's pit on the first lap, so we at least let the traffic go and you wouldn't get caught up in those battles. And you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but yeah, it's a pretty good strategy. So you guys didn't take any tyres at all? You obviously didn't find that the tyres wore throughout the race?
Not for me.
Nah, they definitely didn't wear enough for the need to take tyres, but it costs you too much time anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now, how did you feel with the car? Obviously, talked to Gary about it. Not many people had, or nobody had a lot of time to really get used to the small changes of the car. Did you guys sort of notice those changes at all?
Definitely noticed it might have had a little bit more front end grip than it did before. Definitely feels like the rear wants to chase the car, to chase the front end a lot more than it used to. But you know, I didn't start practicing until a couple of nights before this morning or tonight, so I didn't really get to feel the difference between the cars too much, but yeah, it didn't feel too bad for me really.
One thing I definitely noticed was, I'm not sure if it's just Interlagos because I haven't actually raced the Star Mazda here before, but for a track that appears to have relatively smooth and flat curbs, it certainly didn't handle them too well. The car was really bouncy and bottomed out massively, and it's really quite horrible to drive if you got the line the wrong way. So that was certainly something I noticed. It just made it quite difficult to get consistent.
Yeah, look, it is a hard track to get I guess a smooth rhythm as well. We were talking earlier about it's a track where you can be fast, but one small mistake, and there's so many places that you can make those small mistakes. Just getting an entry or an exit wrong, that really does bring the field back together. And we see Gary out front. He doesn't really make too many mistakes. He did let on that he did make a few mistakes, but I guess everyone else was making those mistakes as well. It's quite a technical track, this one. Is it a track that you guys like to race on, or is there a certain track that you guys prefer?
It's definitely a fun track in this car. Sorry, Jake, but yeah, open wheelers definitely seem to suit this track a lot more than say your touring car style cars. So yeah, no, I found it pretty good really.
Yeah, obviously Josh and I are both supercar drivers, so I'm not sure if Josh has, but I've certainly not enjoyed racing touring cars around Interlagos in the past. It certainly suits the downforce oriented cars, so it was actually really good fun on the Star Mazda. But yeah, for me, I'm sort of more into your tight and twisty sort of stuff, like your Oran Park and your Suzuka, even your Bathurst and stuff like that. So in those rounds, that'll be the tracks that suit me, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny that a lot of drivers prefer different tracks. We do have an oval race again this season. A lot of people like it, a lot of people don't like it. What are your feelings on the oval?
Definitely worth throwing a nice twist in there, considering how important draft is in this car. I think being in the lead on the last lap isn't going to give you any tall hopes, but yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. Definitely throw some change into the mix.
That's it, and I had a mate of mine in real life who races the Pro Mazda, and he said the oval rounds are just so scary. So it's certainly less margin for error. It's a lot more about racecraft and a lot less about outright speed. So it's certainly going to be an interesting round. I'm not sure about Josh, but I'm certainly going to commit to the rest of this season. So great work to the SMAC and the broadcasts and whatnot for making it so popular.
Yeah, it's good to have you guys on board, and look, you bagged some serious points at round one. It's going to be really interesting to watch you guys throughout the season. We said it before. There's probably about 8 or 9 teams that can win the team championship here, so it's going to be really exciting to watch. So congratulations again, guys. It's a great result. Is there anybody you want to have a shout out to?
Yeah, just thanks to the TTL, and yeah, thank you to you guys for putting on your rounds and everything, and broadcasting it obviously too. So yeah, definitely looking forward to next round and bringing in some good points again.
Yeah, and as for me, definitely the Guild of Australian Young Stars. Check them out on Facebook. Great team, and obviously you guys again for putting on a great broadcast. It was good to watch back in the minutes before the interview, and we'll certainly watch back the race after.
Yeah, congratulations again, guys, and thanks for coming up for a chat.
Cheers, mate.
User was moved out of your channel.
Alright, next we might bring up Dylan Shepherd, our Season 1 Series Champion. And yeah, you can have a chat to him, Andrew.
User was moved to your channel.
Hi, Dylan. Welcome back to SMAC. Are you going to be here for the full season this season?
I'm hoping I am. Actually, been missing out most of the time for the last couple of seasons, but yeah, hoping I'll come back for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we've missed you actually. Season 1 champion that you were. It'd be great to have you in in the coming season. We've said it before, and you've probably seen it on some of the broadcasts. Nobody's actually won this series twice yet, so Gary's obviously off to a good start. He won it last season. He's going to try and make it back-to-backs, but I think maybe you're the only other person in the series this season that has won it. So it'll be up to you two to challenge for the back-to-back championships. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it would be a big challenge. The series has gotten a lot more competitive since the championship that I won, so it's going to be a really big job to do. But tonight was a good start. I just came at it with a different headspace this season. Instead of just trying to go out and win all the time, I think it's just got to focus a bit more on just collecting points each round. So just a bit more conservative approach this season, and hopefully coming into the last few rounds I can have a good crack at it and try and get on the front to collect the points near the end. But yeah, if I can just keep having rounds like tonight and collecting good points, yeah, we should be near there in the end.
Yeah, it's a good result tonight. Did you put much practice in, or were you like a lot of the drivers that do a little bit of practice on the Monday and then just jump into the race on Thursday?
No, I didn't really do any practice at all. It's kind of like a last minute decision to race, but yeah, I came in and I probably did a lot of laps just this afternoon after I finished work, so I felt pretty prepared coming into the race, and pace was kind of where I expected. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with the result because the field is just so competitive like nowadays. So yeah, I'm happy, and yeah, so a bit of practice pays off, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, it is a good result. Top 10 finish is a fantastic result in this series. A lot of strong drivers out there, and we've seen drivers, progress through the last 2 or 3 seasons to make it up there. So we're really excited to see you back. Excuse me. How was your race tonight? Did you have a strategy in mind, or did you pit? Did you have a time when you were going to pit, or did you sort of just call that out during the race and sort of see where your track position was?
Yeah, pit strategy was kind of usual for me. The usual strategy I've always had from the first season. Kind of just see where I'm at in the first quarter, pretty much, and see if I'm going to get held up in the future. But it seemed pretty well, and I was kind of dependent on slipstream a little bit. So for as long as I was behind Adam, I think yeah, it was an advantage for me to stay behind. And then I was on TeamSpeak with Jake and Josh, and they were calling out some traffic up ahead. So I was like, well, I'll pit now to dodge the traffic, and I think I did end up getting 2 positions out of the pit stop, so it wasn't a bad call. But yeah, about halfway, just to reset myself for the second half is normally what I like to do, and yeah, it seemed to work against tonight. I think I just took a little bit too much fuel. I think I had 3 laps too much, and that's pretty costly in this series, so keep that on board for next time, and yeah, it should be good.
And how are you finding the solo qualifying? I can't remember if we actually had that in season 1. We may have, or we might have had open qualifying. I'm not really too sure. How do you feel about the closed qualifying?
Yeah, in season 1 it was open qualifying, and went for about 20 minutes or so, and you used to be able to just slipstream people for so long, and we used to just like swap positions in slipstream and really get as much out of it as we could as a team. So yeah, solo qualifying is a bit more of a challenge, but it's also kind of surprising because in practice a lot of people are getting their times in drafts, and you never know where you are in practice. So when I'm practicing in the official session just before the qualifying, you kind of just have to focus on yourself and improve on yourself. You can't really compare yourself with times, and so yeah, qualifying, it's a big challenge to come out and just do 4 laps at your best, and yeah, that's when you kind of find out where your pace is as well. So I find it interesting, but a challenge at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Last season, I think we saw Michael McCabe, who's definitely a split 1 driver, and we saw him fall into split 2 a few times due to some, I guess, poor qualifying, one would say. And when he was in the split 2 race, he ran away with it, but it was just unfortunate that he wasn't able to put those clean laps together to get him to the split 1. So I guess it's the same for everyone. I mean, he's probably been working on that qualifying, and he's come through. But we had 1 split tonight, so it's hard to say. But yeah, exactly right. It's easy to overdrive the car, and if you're concentrating on people's lap times in those practice sessions, and you're half a second behind, and you're not really thinking, hey, they could have had a draft, you can start overdriving, trying to make up that deficit in times, which is really going to hurt you.
Yeah, mate, you hit the nail on the head there. That's exactly what it's like. So yeah, Yeah, 100% correct. And yeah, Mitchell did really well tonight. Actually, I couldn't catch him when I was behind him, and yeah, he's really pacey. I think he's one of them drivers that has definitely stepped up and improved over the last season a bit. So yeah, good on him, and everyone else is improving as well, I guess.
Look, congratulations again on a good result, mate. It's really exciting to see you back in the series, and we expect to be talking to you a lot more this season, mate. Is there anybody you want to have a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd just like to shout out to TPR Engineering for being on board with us the last few seasons, and hopefully for all of 2016 as well. So yeah, just massive shout out to them, and yeah, shout out to you guys for broadcasting. I think it's an excellent broadcast you're bringing again. Commentating quality seems perfect, and yeah, keep up the job and have a good night.
Thanks very much, mate, and all the best for next week.
Thank you very much.
User was moved out of your channel.
Alright, that was Dylan Shepherd, our Season 1 champion. It was good to see him having a good result. It's interesting to hear his thoughts about changing his tactics for this season, about just getting consistent finishes, and we saw last season how well that paid off for some of the guys, and they ended up quite high up in the championship, so hopefully he goes on to get a good result this season. Alright, next we'll bring out Josh Burden, who we did see managed to get a top 11 position, I think, so we'll bring him up and you can have a chat to him, Andrew.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey Josh, welcome to the Slipstream commentary box, mate. How was your race? Is the result what you expected? Are you happy with that result?
Well, start off qualifying was actually very average for me, down in 17th. Yeah, definitely wasn't familiar with my lap. But anyway, that's what it was. And start of the race, I made up 3 spots before we even got to turn 1, so I made a killer of a start. But I got caught up in a bit of carnage at turn 1. So yeah, I'd bench steering, had to run and bench steering for a lap before I could pit. And then obviously making my way back through the traffic after I'd pitted cost me a bit of time. So to finish 11th isn't too bad at all. I feel I probably could have been in the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th if I hadn't had the moment in turn 1, but that's what it is.
Yeah, it's always hard, isn't it, with such a big field as well. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest fields we've had on this track. It's a very popular track. How did you find getting through the traffic? Was it easy, or were people making it hard for you?
For me, it wasn't too bad. There were a couple of close moments, but that overall wasn't too bad. Although I heard up the front, there was a couple of interesting moments. The leaders getting through traffic, so yeah, it's, like for me, it wasn't too bad.
Okay, we mentioned before that we consider there's a couple of super teams in the championship at the moment. In saying that, what we mean is 2 very fast, very competitive drivers in a team. The team championship is really quite important, as is the drivers' championship. This season, I think this is where the interest is going to be with the drivers, with the team championship. And I see you've got a new signing. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, mate, absolutely. During the week, we signed Craig Edwards, fantastic driver, as you will know watching the broadcast. Yeah, he's very good, that's for sure. Finished 2nd tonight. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what he can do. Hopefully, a bit early to say what's going to happen with the championship yet, but hopefully by then he might have the number 1 on the car next season. That's a bit ambitious to say at this stage, but you can only hope. And yeah, we're teaming up together, so see how it goes for the teams championship as well.
Yeah, you guys have made a pretty good impact. I mean, yourself, you came runner-up, I guess, in season 1. We just had Dylan Shepherd in the box as well, who was the season 1 champion. So you're obviously no slouch in the car yourself. So a super team. You guys will be the team to beat. Strickland and Rayner, obviously the team champions from last season, they were just super consistent. So they'll be wanting to retain that team championship as well. But looking at the strength of the teams this season, it's going to be a pretty hard battle throughout the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. Strickland and Rayner, they'll be once again hard to beat. I feel for the team's championship. Mind you, Gary Hamilton and Adam Newton are pairing up together as well, so they'll also be hard to beat. So it's going to be there's actually probably 10 teams that will take the team's championship. So yeah, it's going to be on throughout the whole season.
Yeah, it's going to be great to watch. It's going to be a tough season. Obviously, we've got some races that are on Christmas Eve and I think New Year's or New Year's Eve. They will be non-scoring rounds. We've already decided. And we've got a couple of new tracks in this season, and tracks that probably people haven't really had much practice on. So that's always good to spice it up. Last season we had Summit Point, which not a lot of people have driven the Star Mazda around, but a lot of people really enjoyed that. So there's going to be a couple of different tracks this season. That should really show some exciting racing. Is there any tracks that you're really looking forward to?
Bathurst, Road, America. I think they're probably the main two that I'm looking forward to. Definitely Phoenix. The Oval will spice things up. We haven't run there before, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes around there. I think the racing will be definitely a lot cleaner than what we had at Indianapolis last year, because you've actually got a lift around the corner, so it's not just a massive draft fest where you're flat all the time. So that'll definitely spice things up. The schedule this season is actually quite good. The Nordschleife is, even though it's 9 points round, it's still 2 weeks' time, I think. So that'll be definitely interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's such a long track. I mean, to really know that track, you've got to have a lot of practice, and 2 weeks is not a lot of practice. I mean, personally, I haven't even bought it yet, which is probably a little bit stupid of me, but so I haven't even driven it yet, so I can only imagine how hard it is going to be to learn and to be fast around that track. But also it's going to be quite a hard track to broadcast, because I think the field will be fairly spread out.
Yeah, that's it. Definitely over lead start as 6.5 minutes or so, I imagine, plus. So definitely by the end of I'm not sure how many laps it'll be, about 5 or 6, I'd imagine. So by the end of that race, there's definitely going to be a few beaten up cars, and definitely be spread out.
Yeah, it should be definitely interesting, that's for sure. With the oval track, I think Trent and I'll have a bit of a discussion. Maybe we'll put a couple more practice sessions up for that, because a lot of the drivers in here aren't really familiar with oval racing, and it's a different beast altogether, isn't it? It's a different mindset, and it's a different way of driving.
Yeah, as Jake was saying in the broadcast before, instead of going for outright pace, maybe you've actually got to go for your racecraft over anything, because if you're leading on the last lap, it's almost more certainty that you're not going to win it, because just of the draft. Even if you do have to lift, the draft is still pretty big. So you could really be a brave man to bet on to win that race.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's always great to broadcast those racing, because basically it's pack racing, so it's really quite exciting. Mate, look, good to have you back in the series. Really looking forward to next week. I know it's a non-point scoring round. Do you think you're going to make it?
At this stage, yeah, I'll make it. The week after I won't make, but next week I'll definitely make it. So hopefully a few people turn up and we'll have another good race.
Excellent, mate. Congratulations on another solid result. Do you want to have a quick shout out to anyone in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. Just JFF and GT Omega for all their support and whatnot. Thanks to Craig Edwards for jumping on. I see you guys didn't have your skin tonight, so you might need to work on that for next time. But yeah, And just special thanks to every for Damo and Rock for also jumping on tonight and fielding another team for us.
Excellent, mate. Well done.
Yeah, just on that skin thing, it's quite weird because we actually started out the broadcast with the skin fine, and then it switched back to his old one, then it switched back to the new one, and then it switched back to the old one again. So I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, hopefully it's all sorted out for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Trading paints at its finest once again.
Yeah, I think so, mate. Anyway, congratulations on the result tonight, mate, and catch you next time.
Yeah, 26.
User was moved out of your channel.
Alright, the last driver we have to bring up is Ben Wilkinson. He did finish in 36th position, so I'll bring him up now. G'day Ben, welcome to the Slipstream commentary box, mate. Appreciate your patience waiting down there. I'll hand you over to Andrew because he's the interview master.
I wouldn't say that, mate. Congratulations for turning up tonight, mate. The result was 36. How do you feel about that result?
Yeah, considering it was my first Star Mazda Australian Championship race, I'm pretty happy with that. Started 49th, I think. So to get up to 36, considering the luck I had, I'm fairly happy with that.
Yeah, look, that's a good result for a first timer. It's a massive field. Have you driven the Star Mazda much before, or is this your sort of first foray into the Star Mazda?
I ran it last season officially, but apart from that, no, this is my second season running it. So yeah, still fairly new compared to some of those fast guys for sure.
So what was your thought out there tonight? Obviously it was a massive field. I'm not too sure how big the fields are in the official races. Do you get fields this big in the officials?
No, nowhere near this in officials. This is probably the biggest I think I've ever seen. Yeah, you can't beat that start though for action value, that's for sure. But no, this is probably the biggest field I've seen, which is fantastic. It's really good to see.
So how did you find out about the series being a first timer?
Yeah, just through the iRacing forums and on YouTube. I've been following the broadcasts for a little while, and I said I'd pop in and have a look at it, and yeah, I said I'd give this season a crack, and I made it tonight, and and I'm pretty happy with it. It's definitely a go.
Yeah, definitely great to have you on board. It's always good to see new drivers come through and we see them progress so quick. The good thing about this series is, as you'll probably notice with the broadcasts and just watching the racing, is the caliber of drivers, not just because they're fast, but they're also fair and clean. And if there's an incident out on track, it's not through stupidity. It is just a simple mistake or one of those things that happen. So the good thing about that is it really gives the drivers a chance to learn and to get faster and to really know the people that they're driving against. And I think that's one of the things that brings most of the guys back every season.
Yep. No, I totally agree. I know these guys from watching the broadcasts and things like that. So it's good to see the Aussies and Australians don't just race the V8s, but they give these cars which you wouldn't normally see in Australia and New Zealand crack anyway. So I've never even heard of them until I came onto iRacing. So it's a good little fun car to race, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it is, and it's such an accessible car. I mean, anyone can sort of jump in there and get around the track. I mean, it's still hard to be fast and consistent, but it's not one of those cars that you're always going off the track on. Mate, I see you're a privateer. Do you have any aspirations to join a team in the future?
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely looking at joining a team. Being in a team, you definitely accelerate your learning, so to speak, and you get to do fun things like you get to do all the endurance stuff and all that sort of fun stuff as well, and with that, and you get to meet like-minded people as well. So definitely looking to join a team. But that's the good thing about this championship as well. It's fixed, so everyone's got the same car. And it's nice and easy to get into. So it's a good starting platform. But looking to get into a team eventually. But just looking to learn and get faster and improve my racecraft and take it from there.
Yeah, excellent. It's a good place to learn your racecraft in this series because everybody does give you a little bit of room. How did you find your race anyway? How did you find your pace and the guys around you? Were they fair and giving you enough room?
Yeah, that start was crazy. I didn't see what actually caused that massive big crash at the start, but because I was kind of around the corner, so I kind of came around the start and I see Star Mazdas flying everywhere, so that was kind of crazy to see. Yeah, no, the racecraft was good. I gave room where it was needed for the people that were passing me. That was when I was being lapped, and I had a few good battles every now and then with people. The racecraft was definitely good. And being on Australian servers, you don't get the problems you'd normally get. Obviously unofficial, depending on who you're racing with, I guess.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you'll notice going ahead in this series is you'll find out some drivers that are around you, and you'll be battling them for the full season. We saw it last season where there was probably maybe 7 or 8 battles going on through the whole season where drivers were just swapping that one position, but they always had somebody to battle against, and I think that's really important for driver development, is to always have somebody to battle and to try and beat, and I think you'll see that a lot this season.
Yeah, and you'll obviously with those battles you'll be racing against people of your speed as well. So, and obviously hopefully as I get faster, I'll catch up to those fast guys, and there's always battles there to be had. Yeah, that's the aim of it. Always get fast because there'll always be battles. So, and you always wanna keep improving. So.
Mate, it's really good to have you on board. If you want to maybe throw out an advertisement on the forum and a little bit later on the season that you're looking to join a team, obviously people will know from the broadcast as well. We've seen a couple of teams form from privateers within the series, and they've gone on to do really well in this series from a team effort. So hopefully you'll be able to pick up a teammate. I'm sure there's a couple of other privateers here that have got the same mindset as well, mate. So it's really good to have you on board with the series, and we look forward to chatting with you in the further races.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll definitely be looking. I don't know if I'll be happening this season, but hopefully 2016 I can either form a team or jump into an existing team with someone, and onwards and upwards from here. I think in 2016 for sure.
Great, mate. Well, look, congratulations on finishing your first race, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep. Thanks to Slipstream, you Andy, and Trent for all the help in organising this event. It's a fantastic event, and I look forward to racing again soon.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Ben. Good luck for the next race, mate.
Thanks, Trent.
User was moved out of your channel.
Alright, that's all our driver interviews.
That has got to be the most drive interviews we've had on a round one, I would say.
I think so. We've actually got pretty good viewers watching the stream live at the moment too. So hello to all of you guys.
Actually, we've never had a round one driver interview. This is our first full season, actually.
Well, that's a good point. Actually, it's a bit hard to have driver interviews when there is no broadcast. Actually, I broadcast by myself last season, so that's why.
The whole season?
Yeah. Well, for race one. Yeah, I broadcast race one, and then we had a break for a couple of rounds, and we come back for round 4, I think it was, where we teamed up to do the commentary.
Seems so long ago.
We might bring Scott Connors up, our race controller, and have a quick word to him before we wrap up. Scott, welcome to the commentary box, mates. 50 cars out there in race control, or in the field. And you're by yourself, I believe, tonight in race control. Was it a bit of a hard one for you to control tonight?
Yeah, it was extremely tough out there tonight. A bit hard when you only got 2 sets of eyes and you've got to try and keep your eyes on 50 cars out there. So it's a bit of a challenge. It doesn't also help when you have issues like, especially in the start, when there was about, I think it was 3 or 2 crashes where there was massive incidents, and iRacing decided that I wasn't allowed to see them. And just before the cars made contact, I'd get the static screen and I wouldn't see any cars. So that was a pain. to say the least. And I don't think it got any better until probably halfway when I actually could see most of the cars. Like I thought that the issue was meant to be fixed in that last maintenance last night, but it obviously wasn't. And like I've got my cars to set to 60, and I still can't see all the cars, which is extremely frustrating when you're the only one in there, and you can't make a call on any of the incidents.
Yeah, it's certainly hard. We did notice we did see a lot of cars. I think they have improved it, but they haven't fixed it completely. I don't think. I think there was a race last night at Phillip Island. You could only see about 20 odd cars on that grid, even though there was 40.
Yeah,
We did see a pretty solid field here tonight in the broadcasts, but obviously they still haven't fixed it 100%.
yeah. I think I was seeing just over. Maybe it was probably between 35 and 40 cars. That's all I was seeing. Just a bit really frustrating for me. But push forward. I'll try and grab a replay off someone else. I think Josh is going to give me his replay, so I'll grab that off him and go and look back and study it all in the coming week and see what I can do post race.
Yeah, and that's shout out to the drivers too. If there was any incidences that you don't think race control managed to catch, there is a form in the first post on the forum where you can issue an official protest. Just lets the race control know of anything they may have missed. So yeah, just fill out the form, just quick information, and race control can have a look at that and make a judgment on it if they need to.
Yeah, like I forget what I was saying now. That's just great. I've lost my whole train of thought.
Yeah, it happened to me earlier.
But yeah, I was just listening to the broadcast and you're saying the most interviews you got. I did tell the guys when I was wrapping up to jump in the car and interview if they wanted to.
Yeah,
it's always good.
Yeah, it's always good to have, especially after the race, we might see certain things, and it's always good to hear from the drivers and their perspective of what might have happened. Like Gary Hamilton, our race winner, for instance, he told us that he took on front tyres during that race, which is obviously we might have missed that, but it's something. Yeah, it's always good to get into the driver's head and find that information.
That's it, especially when it's been such a big field with 50 cars. You're always going to miss certain things because you can't. There's 50 cars there. It's physically impossible to keep cameras on like the front, the middle, and the back because you're always going to miss things. So it's always good to get a perspective on the driver's race and find out all the things you missed. It's actually really good.
That's exactly right. Andrew, is there any questions you had for Scott from Race Control tonight?
Yeah, Jesus, it's so tough. I mean, did you have to have, you might have already answered this question, did you have to hand out any penalties, or is there some serious incidents that you're going to look at post-race and maybe hand out some penalties, or was it all pretty much straightforward?
Yeah, I'll have to. I handed out 2 drive-throughs, I think. I can't remember. I've actually lost everything in my brain at the moment. I don't know what's going on with me, but yeah, I did hand out 2. I think one was to Andrew Kiss. It was a really weird crash, but his rejoin was really bad, and that's what contributed to the whole incident. Really, was his rejoin. So, and I did have drivers doing some extremely dangerous rejoins into the track. So I did warn everyone during the race that please be extremely careful when you're coming back on the track, and that's your final warning. And so there was also another thing that a lot of voice chatter over the voice comms, which is always frustrating when people are starting the race. I always disable the chat halfway through the race. So that's another thing that we are against. I'm going to have to close my window because my PC's getting wet. That's awkward. Okay.
With the people coming back on the track, the re-entries, could that be a problem with the F3 again as well, with people not seeing people on the F3?
Yeah, that's another thing because I believe there was a glitch where the F3 screen was glitching out, but I haven't experienced that really. So, but yeah, there would have been multiple things, but yeah, there was particular about 2 or 3 really extremely bad re-entries. So that's when I got on the mic and warned everyone. So.
Yeah, look, it's got to be tough doing race control with a 50 car field. I guess in any consolation, it's maybe a little bit easier on a track that's really quite tight and close together. I guess when you get to those open tracks, if you have 50 cars on there and you're going to have to be, switching back and forward to different parts of the track, that could be quite difficult.
Yeah, especially like Interlagos, it's definitely not an easy place to pass, and like that's another thing.
User
The
joined your channel.
it was pretty challenging for the people with who are a lap down because they it's not you really can't pass at most corners really, and when there's people battling, then you got a lap car that's on the outside. It makes it 3 wide, and I don't think you would want to be going 3 wide into most of corners around here because it's actually quite dangerous. And there was a few, and that's another thing. There was incidents between lap cars and stuff, and I couldn't see them because just before they made contact, it went to the static screen, so I couldn't see it. So it's going to be a bit fun looking through basically the whole race and watching the race again, and going through it all and looking at all the incidents I missed because I'm sure I would have missed a fair few being the only one. But that's all right. It's all good.
We can only hope that iRacing fix all their glitches pretty soon as the season goes on anyway. But yeah, look, thanks again, mate. We appreciate your time that you put in for the race control.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's always alright. I don't mind doing it. Just thanks to you guys for doing a broadcast each and every week. It's always good to get the SMAC broadcasted again. So it's wonderful. You do a top job every day, every week, so I should say, and it's getting better every time. So keep it up.
Thank you. All right, we might wrap this up now. First of all, though, we might actually go through our 12 rounds that we have this season. Obviously, round one was tonight. Nürburgring, the WEC layout, which is it's not the tight chicane that the Grand Prix cars race on. It's got more of a flowing chicane towards the end of the track for round two, and then for round three, going to the Nordschleife. 5 laps around there. Could be interesting. I don't even know where the pits are on that track, to be honest, so I don't know how that's going to work out. Round 4, we're going to go to Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. We've never raced a Star Mazda there in this series either, so it's another new track that we're going to go to. Round 5 is our oval, Phoenix International Raceway. Excuse me. And it's not like the super speedway that we raced on last season. You do have to lift. It's quite flat too. There's not really any banking, so it will rely on racecraft, as was spoken about earlier, more than just outright speed. So it's going to be an interesting round. Round 6 we go to Road America, which I don't think we've raced on since season 1. So yeah, that should be another good course. We've got a lot of fast, long straight circuits on this season. Mount Panorama Circuit, Bathurst, round 7. I'm sure a lot of people will be looking forward to that one. Round 8 will be at Watkins Glen around the Classic Boot. Last season we ran the boot with the bus stop chicane. This season we'll be running without that chicane, so that should hopefully improve a bit of the racing because it's a bit tight through there. It wasn't really a passing opportunity, to be honest, and that longer straight should make some passes into the carousel. Summit Point Raceway was quite popular last season. We're going there for round 9 again this season. Suzuka International, we're actually racing the East Course, so it's not the full Grand Prix layout. It's just the East Course, which is basically down the front straight, up through the S's, and then back again. So it's actually quite a small circuit, and that track can actually hold 60 cars, so we could see some mayhem there by the time we get to round 10. And then we're off to Spa, and we're using the classic pits, so the pits will be not where you normally see them. They'll be on the basically after turn 1, so between turn 1 and Eau Rouge is where the pit lane is, and that'll be the start line as well. So, and then we're back to having round 12, season finale at Phillip Island. I think we've had 3 or 4 season finales there, and it always proves to be fantastic racing at the end of the season. So certainly a bit of an action-packed schedule we've got going for us here this season, with round 2 and 3 being non-points championships. Non-points round, sorry. Andrew, any final thoughts you had on the race or the season ahead?
Yeah, just looking at the tracks ahead, mate. Round 1 to 6, I put a big question mark on those, and only because most of them are tracks that we haven't been to before. Yeah, big question mark what the racing's going to be like. I mean, the racing's going to be great, but how the drivers are actually going to take to those tracks that they don't know, and how much practice they will get in those tracks before they actually get to them. Obviously, round 2 and 3 being non-point scoring rounds, I still think we'll get a fair few drivers rocking up to those, although it is in Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Round 7 to 12, I guess that's the real meat of the championship. We've been to most of these tracks several times, except for maybe some at points. That's where the championships, both championships, are going to get really exciting. I think all great racing tracks. Everyone looks forward to going to just about all those tracks, and we've seen some great racing at those tracks in the past. So I'm really looking forward to the back end of this season.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Like I said, all the first basically half of the season tracks we've never run, and then the second half some tracks we have run, but with some alterations as well to their layouts, etc. So certainly should be a good season. Points have changed a little bit this season again. They've had a bit of a tweak. The feedback from the drivers feel that points just needed a little bit of an overhaul, so we've just made some slight changes there. So it'll be interesting to see how the points change and influence the results this season. So I think that's probably about it for tonight.
Driver of the night.
Oh yes, driver of the night. Oh, well, that's not fair. I'm supposed to ask you that question, put you on the spot, not the other way around.
I will respond. I'm going to give it to Adam Newton. I think he's might not have been his first race. I'm not too sure, but his sort of first race in the team environment. He's done a really good result there. I think it was 8th, and he kept it clean and came home. He did a really good job.
Yeah, it's a good result for him and good result for that team as well. And I'll probably do a bit of a cop out, and I'll go with Justin Strickland and Mark Rayner as a pair, as a team. Both cars again in the top 10, scoring some good points for the team's championship. Obviously, the two JFF GT Amiga drivers, Craig Edwards and Josh Burden as well, up there scoring some decent points. So it's certainly game on for the team's championship of this season.
Yeah, look, we'll endeavour to get those points up on the forum as quickly as we can. It always takes a little bit of time, the first round, because we've got a lot of new drivers to enter information for. But yeah, I'm really excited about getting those results up there so people can see how they're going, not just from a Drivers' Championship, but from a team perspective as well, which is what I've been blabbering on about all night, and how exciting that's going to be.
Oh,
yeah, exactly right.
Got to butt in here and put my drive for the race in, because I'm just gonna make it a little bit interesting. I'm just gonna say a totally different person as well. So why not? I'm gonna say Josh K. Rogers for the driver of the night. I saw he's been up the front. I think this might be his first round for SMAC. I know he used to do the SMAC series. So it's actually good to see the drivers come from the Open Star Mazda series that we ran last year, or this year I should say. And it's good that they've transferred, and he's actually put it in. I think he qualified second or third and actually finished third. So, and he was having a fair good battle with I think it was it Craig, Josh, Jake, and Michael, or was it?
Yeah,
I
it was
can't
pretty
remember.
much. Yeah, he was pretty much in a battle the entire race. So the fact that he won out that podium battle between Jake Burton and Michael McCabe towards the end of that race, yeah, he's certainly put in a good drive tonight.
Nice pick up there, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, man. Let's wrap it up.
Alrighty. All right. Yeah, so we'll wrap this up now. Thanks again for watching Slipstream. You've been listening to Andrew Gaines and Trent Thomas, and hopefully we'll catch you again next week.
Sound muted.